So what we wanted to do next is just take a little bit of time to talk a little bit about the upcoming World Cup next year. So we've been talking about, yes, we know that there is a women's professional baseball league coming along, and we're getting to see, but also to make you all aware of what's happening and what's going to be going on in next July in Rockford, Illinois, for only the second time in the Women's World Cup history where it will be held here in the United States. The last time was in 2018, and there were a few of us there, and I stress the few, unfortunately. And so one of the goals this upcoming time is to make sure that that is not a repeat. And so part of that is making people aware of what's going on and how they can get involved. And so, Kat, I'm going to let you lead it all off and tell people about what's going on and things like that. And then we can
Sure.
take questions from people as well.
Yeah, first of all, I want you to see my shirt. The World Cup comes home to Rockford, Illinois. The cup comes home.
Yeah, the best thing you could do to draw people is make sure it's not 90 degrees and 100% humidity.
Well, you know what? I am fairly powerful, Perry, but not that powerful. Um, so the Women's Baseball World Cup. First of all, there may be people on here who don't even know there is such a thing as a Women's Baseball World Cup. Um, Leslie, what happened there? Oh, there you go. I was like, wow. Um, so the Women's Baseball World Cup, for those of you that don't know, it is the premier international competition for women's baseball. It is the World Baseball Softball Confederation. It is is the organization, the international organization that regulates and runs these tournaments, and that is for women, men, boys, girls. The WBSC is the governing body for international baseball and softball. Um, in 2018, I went to my first World Cup, as Leslie said, in South Florida in August. And I'll just leave that image there for you to mull over. Um, but what I saw was the most amazing women's baseball I've ever seen in my life. And I have said that, I am repeating myself, I've said this many times. I sat there in that heat and watched the Japanese women's baseball team play through tears, because watching them play was like watching a ballet. It was the most stunningly beautiful baseball I've ever seen in my life. Um, Fast forward a few years, and the World Cup stage was being held up in Thunder Bay, Ontario, and we were able to convince the USA women's baseball team to stop in Rockford on their way up to Thunder Bay, and they held a exhibition game and a practice, an open practice, and Rockford showed up to the tune of about 1,500 people for an open practice. The message about Rockford got to Thunder Bay before Leslie and I got to Thunder Bay, which was just a few days later. And the conversation began about, hey, maybe we could do this in Rockford. Fast forward another couple of years, and finally, after about a year and a half process, we found out that the group stage 2026 will be held in Rockford, Illinois. We are waiting on the announcement about the finals, which will be held in 2027. We do not yet know where those will be held. Rockford, as I said, will be a group stage. There will be 6 teams, one of which will be the US team, but we don't know who the other 5 will be. We also are not aware yet of where the location of the other group stage, but that will be coming, I'm sure. If you go to IWBC.org, there is a World Cup tab there that will give you additional information. This is Rivet Stadium where the games will be held. There will be some practice, some exhibition type games and ceremonial things happening at Bayer Stadium where the Peaches played. But the Rivet Stadium is far larger. It has the facilities needed to host such a large event. So you can go to IWBC.org. Oh, there I am in my bright orange making the announcement. That is our mayor standing back there, by the way, and the owner of the Rivets on the right, and Dr. Patricia Lynott, the president of RU, on the left. Those three people are largely responsible for us getting this bid. Join us there. It is July 22nd through 26th. The 27th is a rain delay. The world's coming to Rockford to play baseball. Be there. That's that year right there. That picture is when the USA team came. And I got to tell you, I'm not kidding. Rockford was amazing. It was, people came from all over the region. So Leslie, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, couple things. So as Kat pointed out, when the USA national team came to Rockford, the 1,500 plus people, the party that was had, the amazing time, and then we went up to Thunder Bay and realized we had more people at an exhibition game because of the support that Rockford was willing to give and others that came. And that's really what prompted the thoughts that, yeah, well, and it was Kat who looked around the stadium up there and said, we could do this. And I looked at her initially and thought, you're crazy. And then I'm like, yeah, we could.
This is often how these things go, by the way.
Yes, that is true. And so we then came back and realized all the work that it was going to take. But the big thing, one of the reasons I believe, quite frankly, that we were awarded this bid is the belief that because of the great community and all of the things that are happening in women's baseball, everybody that will help support and get the word out, that we will have big crowds at these games, people there to see. If you've not seen the kind of baseball that you're going to see is just amazing. It is truly, it will revive any love you might have lost. If you think about what Jane Levy was saying last night, it will revive anything that you might have lost to see them play, to see the support, particularly some of the international teams get from their fans. My favorite experience to some degree up in Toronto was the first year watching the team from Mexico with all of their families there, and the musical instruments they brought to play in the stands, and just the fun that they had supporting their team. And we're hoping, some of you may have had an opportunity to go to a World Baseball Classic game in the past. It had that on a very small scale with the Mexican, and we would love to see that happen. I think the big thing with what's coming to Rockford is going to be the way that you all can help. And I think that's the important thing. And every single person has a role to play, whether that is actually coming, right? But more importantly, it starts with helping to spread the word, making sure that people are aware of what's happening, that this exists in some cases, that first and foremost, and and so that's what I mean by saying everybody has a role to play. We know that we're going to need somewhere in the range, and this is a bit of a staggering number, it was to me when we first thought about it, 400 to 500 volunteers at the point of putting this on, when the teams all come from the parts of the world that they are coming. So there is a way for everybody who wants to be involved to be involved. We will be reaching out, but in many ways, you guys need to reach out as well and make sure that we're connecting and we know that you want to be involved. I gave a presentation just as an example a couple weeks ago. Some of you may be familiar with Seroptimist International, the women's organization that works with kids with scholarships and all kinds of things for education. It's an international organization and they're very supportive. They know I'm on, and their response to all of this was, can we all come as a club and help out that week? And then their second comment was, and we're not just saying that, it's real. And that's the kind of thing, that people are going to be able to do. And so mark it on your calendars now for July 22nd through the 26th. And yes, there will be opportunities certainly to watch the games. There always are. If you can't make it there, is not certainly, and so you will be able to do that as well. But I think my big message is there's a role for everybody, and we're going to need everybody to make this the success we know it can be. And so we'd love to entertain any questions or comments or thoughts from. Yes, I saw that we have your emails. We do. That is true. Anybody that we do have all of those. Do you have you?
There's
Donna's saying anybody's welcome at their camp. Uh, Um, questions, comments, thoughts, wonderings.
Can you describe maybe like some of the types of volunteer positions that you would be looking for, the types of work volunteers would be doing?
Sure. I think Kat can certainly do, but one big example that jumps into my head, like that week, will be people to man the ticket sales, and merchandise, because you got to have volunteers to do all of those kinds of things. And one of the things we are determined to make sure happens is that is actually, particularly on the merchandise side, that there is merchandise, and there is, but that's going to depend on volunteer help. And so, 5 days of 3 games a day, that's a lot of volunteers. We're going to need volunteers to help with everything from uh, transportation to we're looking people that can help just at the days of those games to be there to answer questions, to direct people. um, and then obviously lots of volunteers long before that week in terms of one of the things that we're hoping to do as an example. And so if anybody's in there, we're going to be putting together a program book so that people actually know who all the teams are and the players once we know. So one of the things we're going to be looking for, those of you who like to research, write, might want to dabble in, is getting biographies put together of all the players that we can possibly do so that they can go in a program book, but it also might give announcers, for example, the opportunity to say a little bit more about the player besides just their name when they get up there to announce them. So there's opportunities like that. I think you can add others, Kat. Those are some that immediately come to mind.
Yeah, those are, and of course, there are things even that go much deeper. For example, we're
Right.
going to need interpreters, and we're going to need help with visas. There's going to be, I mean, it really does run the gamut, people to help park cars and people to interpret, and everything in between. Um, and so, um, yes,
Yes, we're going to be, Donna.
yes, we have,
Each committee from so there's a LOC, the local organizing committee, and each of those committees will be putting together the lists of the volunteers, things that they need. And that will then be put out to people so that they know what kinds of things.
yeah, and we have we have a lot of individuals who are stepping up to lead certain aspects of the volunteer piece. Is someone asked if I saw in the chat? Someone asked if we knew what countries would be coming. We do not know yet because some of them are still playing in their own tournaments, and so all we know for sure is that the Team USA will be. They get they get an automatic bid because we're hosting, and they will be in Rockford. The other 5, we have no way of knowing, and we have no say in that either, obviously. So we will, as soon as we know, we will get to work on that, because that too will change some of our volunteer needs. So do we need Spanish interpreters? Do we need interpreters for the South Korea team? So there will be a lot of those kinds of things. We've already started working generally on that stuff, but we can't be specific yet about those teams.
Other questions, thoughts? I'm watching the chat. I don't see any. The other part of what countries will be competing that we also is, as Kat pointed out, there are 2 qualifiers. And so, yes, Marlene, remote volunteers ahead of it, absolutely. But there are going to be 2 qualifiers, and so that's where the teams get split, and where they go, we won't know until the other second location is announced as well. And so the only other one I'm immediately aware of that's won their tournament is the British team.
Yep.
But we'll have to wait and see. We don't know
Right.
who will be going where.
Yep.
Um,
But the thing is, I'm curious and anxious to find out, but it also doesn't matter. How cool is this going to be, right? And then of course that's just the stage event. And then in 27, the top 6 teams from the 2 stage events will play wherever the finals will be held. And so let's say we get the finals. It could be totally different teams. Not all of them will be different, but some of them will be. So we have the potential to bring in just incredible international baseball to Rockford. And I'm anxious to find out who's coming. But at the same time, it's like, whatever.
yeah, it only matters from the logistical side.
Yeah, right.
From the ball
right.
playing side, it's going to be great baseball, whoever is there. And
Right.
trust me, having seen a lot of these teams play over the last 2 years in Canada, it's amazing. It's
Yeah.
also amazing to get to see the different cultures that surround baseball from different countries, and their practices. And one of the things that struck me most when we were watching were the teams from South Korea, Taiwan, etc. The sort of celebrations, the rituals that they have around welcoming the players on and off the field.
Yeah.
Literally the whole team coming out as a team is coming off the field and then bowing to one another and doing, just seeing some of those cultural is really fascinating too.
Yeah.
And yes, Donna, absolutely right. Celebrating at Bayer, because that's probably some of the ceremonies and things will be held, and that was part of the appeal as well, is you're connecting history to hit, right? And all these historic pieces. And so that will be and Bayer will look, if you've been there before, by the time this all happens next year, Bayer will look very different. With everything from, I know this doesn't sound very sexy, but we have bathrooms there now. Yeah, and we're going to have a press box, and we're going to have a scoreboard and lights and all kinds of things that are coming, which will make Bayer, and of course it will be not just Bayer Stadium by its name anymore, but Kat, what else will it be?
It will be Bayer Stadium at Maybelle Blair Park, thanks to the Stephen and Alexandra Cohen Foundation and the Amazing Mets Foundation. And can I just say, as a lifelong Reds fan, I have ordered my New York Mets shirts.
I'm going to convert you all. I knew it. As a lifelong Mets fan, I was like, yes, it's my Mets. But yeah, so
I hope all of you will make the effort to go. I will say that we have already have hotel links and stuff up on our website. And I know it seems like a long way off, but I will say there are also some very big other events happening at the same time, and in part because of the World Cup. So join us, but don't wait. You're not staying with me. So
yeah, because we have to go there too.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Any other comments, questions? Our best comments to all of you is just keep paying attention to the IWBC website as it gets updated. Pay attention to its social media. You'll see all kinds of things coming out as um, things start to get settled, and don't hesitate to reach out and ask um, how you can help. Oh, Perry, I didn't want to know that. Sorry. The Mets are just started playing and they're already, but it's okay. We're okay. We're okay. We're okay. It's only the first inning, Perry. We won't get worried yet. But anyway, that's our big message. And we'll wait now to see who's gonna come play.